All right, quote of the day. The quote of the day is don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. And that's from Dr. Seuss. And we had a birthday yesterday and went to an arcade that had, besides arcade games, it had bowling and mini golf and laser tag and a foam pit and go karts and bumper cars and all kinds of stuff. And it was a lot of fun. Um, we were there for a good long while. Ended up having a more expensive lunch than I had originally planned. So I was like, money, because I'm always worried about money. But it was worth it. And, today I'm sore and, I'm tired and all of that. But it was worth it. My kids had a great time. My husband and I had a good time. Um, and it was fun. But it's over now, like there's always kind of this, oh, when something like that is over. And so, but I wouldn't change it, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't have not done it so that I could not feel kind of about it now. But, by the time we were done, everyone was pretty done. My older son ended up jumping in the foam pit and hurting his foot right at the end. So he was all upset at the end. And then my little one was tired, which was good. I mean, he was tired to the point where he's like, I don't want to choose what to do anymore because we'd already done everything at least once. And he was ready to go at the end, which is nice. Sometimes it's really tough when you do fun things with kids because you might burn out faster than they do. And so the fact that he was like, I'm ready to go home now, I was like, all right, cool, let's do that. And then, we had dinner and cake and presents and all of that. And he was like, I don't want just one present. Well, both of my kids are into retro gaming. And so I was trying to tell him, like, and he didn't get just one present, but it was kind of one present with stuff. So my older child and I had found a Game Boy Advance SP, and it's blue, which is my little one's favorite color. And it just kind of happened. I took my son to get a haircut. We ended up next to a vintage stock, which is they sell, all kinds of retro gaming stuff and memorabilia and movies and consoles and all kinds of stuff. And so we just happened to go in there and then happened to see this Game Boy Advance SP. And it was just like, oh crap, this would be perfect. Now, was I expecting to spend that money that day? No. But did I need to figure out what to get my little one for presents? Yes. And so yesterday he's like, well, I don't want just one present. And I'm like, but what if it's one really important present as opposed to 100 little presents that don't mean anything? I feel like that's better. And then, the arcade thing. So, he got a few little cartridges, and my husband and my mother in law worked together to get some multi game cartridges. So now he has a bunch of games. And I told him, if you still want to go pick out another game or two that he gets to choose, because we weren't really sure what to pick, and you never know what you're going to find at a place like that, because of course it's not like going shopping for something new where you have all the options to all the things that are out. It's like, do you get lucky or do you find like some random bargain bin cartridge for a game you've never heard of? So, and once he opened it up, he was super excited. He was so surprised that we had found one, that we were able to get it for him, and all of this. So it ended up really good. But yeah, I mean, it was a really good time. And are there things that I wish I had could I wish I could have done the go karts one more time because I hadn't been on go karts in 30 years, and the only other time I'd ever driven a go kart was not at a place like that on a track. It was like my friend's parents had a house near the lake, and then their little neighborhood, somebody else had some go karts, so we just drove go karts around this little kind of lake house community thing. Um, that was the only other time done that. It was like 30 years ago. So I was like, I would have liked to do the go karts one more time, but when the kids are tired and ready to go, then it's time. Oh, I gotta let my cat out. Give me a second. Yeah, buddy, I can see you. Go. Come on, old man. Sorry. I think we're approaching more middle ground. I have an 18-year-old cat who almost passed away last December, and the reason I canceled on Thursday was because he had there was rough cleanup involved with the accidents that he had had. So I was just like, I gotta wash the cat, I gotta wash the floors, I gotta wash all the laundry that was affected, just all kinds of stuff. And so I think we're approaching like that tipping point between more bad days than good days. But we'll just play it by ear because that's what happens. Pet ownership is a little bit of tragedy for your life. But, he still likes to be around us. He still likes to be petted. He's still, but it gets rougher the further along you get. So, not to be a downer after talking about fun birthday things, but, I was like, please just make it through the birthday so that we can not have this tragedy happen on a birthday because that's always tough. I lost a cat right around one of my birthdays a few years ago. And, I wouldn't say that my birthday is now tainted by that, but it was that year in particular was very rough. Um, but, can't stop life from happening, no matter the good or the bad. So it's gonna happen. So, but he made it through the birthday, so we'll just see how much longer he's got, and we'll give him all the love that we can, and try and keep him comfortable, and just take it day by day. So, anyway, I'm feeling kind of tired this morning. My neck is sore. I have my knee is sore. Things like that. Their bowling alley situation was kind of weird. They had a whole bunch of bowling shoes, but they were like, "You don't need bowling shoes," and I was just like, mm. And then later we saw someone else wearing bowling shoes, and it's like, "Oh yeah, I made them give me a pair," and it was like, "Well, shit, I almost twisted my damn ankle because I was bowling in regular shoes." I actually took my shoes off to see if I could bowl in my socks to see if it would make it better, and then I almost slipped and fell, which I was like, well, but if I had known, they would have just given me shoes if I had insisted. But yeah, they were like, nah, you don't need shoes. I'm like, don't I though? I didn't realize how much I used bowling shoes to kind of slide. I have a really particular way I bowl. I've been bowling the same way since I was a kid. And I didn't realize just how much I relied on the slip of bowling shoes to bowl the way I just, how I bowl. So um, now I know, and I will insist. But yeah, that was the most bizarre. They were just like, yeah, you don't need them. Like, are the bowling shoes just for show? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, that's weird, but I'll take your word for it since you work here. But yeah, regular shoes, not good. So,